American English, American English. Teach and learn American English.
Welcome to Teaching Tips from American English. In part 1 of this teaching tip topic, Lauren Whitaker will examine 3 activities for engaging young learners in the English language classroom. Welcome, Lauren.
Welcome to Strategies for Engaging Young Learners, Part 1, Activities. Thanks for joining. I'm Lauren Whitaker, and I'm happy to be here with you. Let's get started. Today, I'll show you 3 activities for engaging young learners in the EFL or ESL classroom. Young learners, or YLs, can be defined as elementary school-age students ranging from 5 to 12 years old. They are high energy, expressive, creative, but easily distracted. So in order to maintain their engagement, they need to have their imaginations, interests, and curiosities engaged. To keep young learners engaged, remember these elements of success when designing your lessons. Lessons should be enjoyable, interesting, active, hands-on, supported, meaningful, and culturally appropriate and relevant. The 3 activities for engaging young learners that we will look at today are portraitures, student-generated materials, and classroom routines. Let's begin. Art can be a great way to bring a classroom of learners together and create a supportive and nurturing environment. It also allows students to be hands-on and use their imaginations. In this activity, we will examine how to build a strong classroom community through celebrating individual students in self-portraiture. The first step for using portraiture is to explain to students that they will be creating a self-portrait and what that is. Tell them that they should include personal facts such as their favorite food, hobbies, pets, family, activities, and so on. Next, you will demonstrate the activity for the students by drawing your self-portrait and discussing each detail of your process. It's important that you model the language structures necessary for them to introduce themselves and then each other to the group. Have these clearly posted for students to refer to if they forget. In the 4th step, students will get into pairs and introduce themselves using their portraits for support. In the 5th step, partners will present each other to the group using the portraits as a visual aid. Next, let's look into student-generated materials. Student-generated materials are classroom materials and/or resources that students create on their own. Here are a few principles for successfully incorporating them. Believe in your students' creativity. Don't feel like you need to guide them through the entire activity. Set a clear goal. Have students create something familiar. Targeting familiar concepts allows students to more successfully learn new concepts. Provide visual examples and demonstrations. Have students present or share their work. In this activity, students will be creating vocabulary posters to be hung around the room as a reference tool. To begin, we need to model the task. Create an example while asking students questions like, the word is cloud. Do you remember what this word is? How would I draw a cloud? Afterward, keep the example visible for learners to see. Next, provide them with the necessary supplies. In the 3rd stage, allow students sufficient time to develop their posters. Provide support as needed, but give learners an opportunity to think for themselves. Remind students to write the vocabulary words in big letters so that it can be seen across the room. To add a challenge, ask students to use the word in a sentence beneath the picture. And finally, have students check over their work and their images are complete. Here is one example of a student-generated vocabulary poster. As you can see, the drawing matches the vocabulary word. The student has written the vocabulary word in a visible font, and an appropriate example sentence using the word has been provided. The last activity we will look into involves setting up and maintaining classroom routines. Having a few basic and consistent classroom routines can help build a positive and safe learning environment. They also encourage cooperation and shared purposes. encouraging opportunities for natural language acquisition and learner autonomy or independence. Successful routines have a consistent plan that is followed each day. They're well demonstrated so that learners know what is expected of them. They involve movement or action, and they offer a reward of some type. Before class begins each day, try eliciting the date and weather from students. You can write this on the board or have a different helper each morning who will write it for you. Once the date is elicited and written, you can elicit the weather from the students. Call on students to tell you the weather. Then you or a student can draw a picture to show the weather along with an adjective such as sunny, windy, rainy, and so on. Summing up, today I showed you 3 activities for engaging young learners in the EFL or ESL classroom. Be sure to check out part 2 of this series, where I'll talk about visual thinking strategies. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you found these activities useful, and I'll see you next time.
To check out other great teaching tip videos, be sure to subscribe to our American English YouTube channel. You can find resources for teachers on the American English website by clicking on the link listed here. And if you haven't already, be sure to like us on the American English for Educators Facebook page.